Okay, let's try this. Okay, so I just streamed Advent of Code day 9 and I really struggled with the second part. Let's open up the camera as well. Hi. And usually this just bugs me so much that I can't let it go. So I took some time, I talked to Luke as well to make sure that I understood what was asked, and I've rewritten the code so that it now works. So if we go back to part 1, basically what I saw was that the relation to the move that you need to make is always just the opposite of the move that the head made. So if you take the head move, you take the negative of what it did, then you have where the tail piece should follow. And while clever, it's totally useless for the second part because it just tripped me up a lot. So if we go back, the basic logic is that if an axis is misaligned, so if the difference is more than 1, we established that, right? We had the is adjacent, which basically checks, and this is the bad code that I wrote, which basically checks, let's go to the is adjacent function, is the difference for any of the axes more than 1, right? Because it should be either 0 or 1, then it's still adjacent, it's either on top of it or adjacent in any angle, including the vertical, the diagonals. If it's not, then we need to move. But the basic logic that they explained to you in the question set, which I failed to comprehend because I thought I was clever, is that if an axis is misaligned, just move it towards the goal, right? So that means that if it's above it 2, you just move it in that direction by 1. If it's to the right, you move it in that direction by 1. If it's off in 2 axes, you just increment both axes. And that's basically what I do here. I also rewritten it so that there's no longer a head and tail pieces, because everything moves the same way except you move the first one and then the rest follows. So I've set number of pieces to 10. I removed all the reference to a head because just the first one is the head. We move that based on the instruction, and then we check all of the pieces against its previous one. So we start at 1 and move to the end. And basically you check, is it off by more than 1 in any axis? If so, just move any axis that is off. So if I run this against a test, it now comes up with 36 as intended for the test input. So it's still a bit exciting, but let's run the actual input and see if I manage to understand it correctly this time. But I think I have. So yeah, let's run this. And it's 27:17. Let's see if we can end this day on a high. Woohoo! Woo! Oh man, this was rough. Because if you look at it, the basic logic is so darn easy. But when you can just tell what happens when you think that you're clever, like me. Like, I saw a relationship between the head move and the first tail piece, and while that is correct, it's not what it needs to be. So yeah, that was day 9 in 2 parts. I just couldn't let it go and I had to rewrite. And I thought about streaming the rewriting or at least recording the rewriting, but I was like, you know what? Let's just calm down, see if we can figure out the thing that's actually needed. So yeah, I'm just happy that I got it in the end, because if I don't solve this stuff, it just keeps eating away at me all day. So in the end, it was very, 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 very easy. But yeah, getting there and the journey to get there, that's what counts. So yeah, I'm glad I figured it out in the end with a bunch of help from friends, nonetheless. But yeah, day 9 in the bag. I hope day 10 is a much smoother tomorrow. So yeah, thank you. Sorry for the frustratingly long stream just a little while ago. Yeah, let's try day 10 tomorrow.